Hi everyone, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ali and today I have a very exciting vlog for you. Today I am going to be reading through the last 10 years of the Goodreads Choice Awards for the non-fiction category. So this is part of a project done by a number of booktubers. I'll link the playlist below, you can go and check out everyone's videos. We all took on a different genre that is a part of the awards, and we read all of the books that won in the category for the last 10 years. I realized as I was editing I hadn't actually introduced this, so this is just very quick. Here's what the video is, and we're going to go straight into what the books actually are right now. Okay, today is the 5th of December. And I am here to talk through the books and my sort of pre-reading ideas as to what I think I might think about these books. As I am filming this, we still have 5 hours until the final round of voting ends for the 2022 round. And then the winners aren't actually announced until the 8th, which I think works out being my time, like basically the 9th, or like it's overnight. So I'm not, originally I thought I would like rank these, but I think it's a little hard not having that final one for 2022. Don't know what it could be. There's only really one in the category this year that I really don't want to win because I don't want to read it. But anything else there I'm vaguely interested in. I wouldn't completely hate the idea of reading it. So we'll see, and I will update this then and let you know what I think of that one. But we're going to run through everything from 2013 to 2021. I'm going to list everything first, and then I've sort of separated them into 3 categories of like, I'm going in with high expectations, I think I'm really going to enjoy this, then a kind of middle one like, this could go either way, and then ones that I have low expectations for. So let's start. So 2013 we have The Autistic Brain by Temple Grandin. 2014, The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. 2015, Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. 2016 is Hamilton the Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda. 2017 is How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh. 2018 is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. 2019, Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. 2020 is Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism and You by Jason Reynolds and Ibrahim X. Kendi. And 2021 was Broken by Jenny Lawson. So this is where disaster struck. And in the video way back in December, I said that the 2021 winner was Broken by Jenny Lawson, which in my defense did in fact win a Goodreads Choice Award in 2021, but it was not for non-fiction, it was for humor. And somehow I messed that up, and that's the one I said, and so I read it. I read this book and I didn't like it, and I didn't even have to read it in the end. So I didn't notice this. It is February right now. It is 2 days until this video is meant to go up, and I haven't read the book. So at the very end of this, you're going to see me panic. But the book that I will be reading that was the actual 2021 winner is I don't even know how you say it. The Arethpacene, maybe, reviewed by John Green. It's been a long time since I read a John Green book, and I honestly did not have it on my 2023 bingo card that I would be revisiting John Green, but here we are. Also feeling a bit of a grudge against him at the moment just because I thought I was done and now I have to read his book, and I'm trying to go in without any bias, but I'm also a little bit annoyed. And I blame that on him, even though it's not his fault at all. It just feels nice. So now I have to read his book, and you'll see that at the end of this clip. You'll have seen those covers. Let's talk about where I think these may sit in those three categories. So let's start with the high expectations one, because it is the smallest category. For this, the only ones that I'm anticipating really enjoying at this stage. So first up, Hamilton, The Revolution. I love Hamilton. I just saw it for the third time about a month ago. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this because I love it. And then the other one is Stamped, which is Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. I've read a little bit of 400 Souls, which is co-edited by Kendi, and I really like that so far. So big high hopes for those two. I don't see myself not liking them. Like, these may not be 5-star reads because I very rarely give anything 5 stars, but I think they're ones that I'll genuinely enjoy. So next one is my mid expectations. So these I'm thinking might be 3.5 possibly, that I will enjoy but maybe not completely love. Then I also have The Opposite of Loneliness. I read this one years ago and I was kind of lukewarm about it. This is the only one on the list that I have read. So it's a short essay collection, and I can't remember enough about it to talk about it, so I'm going to reread it. And I think last time it took me like maybe 2 hours to read. I think rereading it isn't really going to be a strain on my time. And then the last one I have for this section is The Autistic Brain. Okay, so a while ago, I think back in 2018, I watched the movie about Temple Grandin. I cannot think of the title, but I really liked it, and I think she's a very interesting person, and I really admire her. I think she's fantastic. I did try and read this one a few years ago. I didn't get very far into it. I don't really remember what it was, but I remember there was something about the language that made me feel very uncomfortable and made it feel maybe a little bit ableist. I don't know. So, but I can't remember what that is. So it's been probably like 4 years since I tried it. So I'm going to give it another go, because it could have just been my mindset at the time, or I could have just kind of read it wrong. I didn't make it very far in, so yeah, I'm going to give it another go. And then finally we go into the low expectations. I'm not saying I'm going to hate these books, but these are just the ones that maybe don't really grab me. So we have Modern Romance. I don't really know anything about Ansari at all, and I don't really care. I don't know. I think I remember some dodgy stuff coming out about him, so we'll see. Yeah, this is honestly not even the one that I have the lowest expectations for, but I don't know. We'll see. Next, I have Girl Stop Apologizing. I think it was either last year or in 2020, a bunch of stuff came out about this author as well, and I honestly didn't really look into it because I was like, the chances of me ever reading that woman's book is very low, but here we are. So I'm going to read this, but I'm kind of going into it a little bit, I don't know. I think this is a bit self-helpy, which is not something that I find helpful. So I guess, yeah, I'll read it. Okay, next one is How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh. This is the one I have the lowest expectations for. I watched a little bit of Lily Singh. She was a YouTuber who usually went by Superwoman. I saw a couple of her things because she did videos with people that I liked, like Grace Helbig and Memory Hart, and like Jenna Marbles and people like that who, when did this win? 2017? Yeah, honestly, I was probably watching them around that time. So I saw her in things, but I wasn't really necessarily a fan. I don't know. I think I've probably read like maybe 1 or 2 YouTuber books, which is kind of how I'm classifying this one. And we'll see. And then finally, at least until we have the last book, I put I'll Be Gone in the Dark here in my low expectations. So this is complicated because I think I've heard from everyone who's read this tells me that this is fantastic and that it's just like mind-blowing and so good. I'm putting it here because I'm not entirely positive I'm going to get through it. If you haven't heard of this one, it is a true crime where the author is basically re-looking over and trying to search for the Golden State Killer, and I don't like true crime. My level of crime that I can do is like slightly campy historical, which is why it's here, because I want to love it, but I get super anxious about this sort of stuff. So I'm giving myself, this is the only chance, the only one on the list, I'm giving myself the opportunity to DNF this. If I find it too triggering and I just can't do it. The others, if there's such a world of difference between a book being bad or you not liking it and a book being triggering, and I do not want to trigger myself. So the other ones, if they're bad and I hate them, I can keep reading them. That's fine. This one, like I said, I'm sure is going to be fantastic, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to mentally handle it. So we'll see. But this is the only one that I'm giving myself that out on because I do not. I like to be able to sleep at night. So that's what we're doing there. Like I said, I do have these set up on my Kindle, which is why I wanted to start this clip today so that I can start reading them, and then I will let you know what the 2022 book is and where I think that will fit. And then at the end, I will do a ranking system once I've read them all, but I just didn't feel like I could do it yet. I'm kind of tempted to start The Opposite of Loneliness first, because I do have that one already on my Kindle, and I remember it being short. I feel like it would be a good one to mark this off. So like I said, it is the start of December, but I want to have these all done by the start of February. You'll be seeing this mid-Feb, but I want to have all the books read and stuff so that I have a few days leeway to edit and wrap up anything and get things prepared. So I feel like starting with one that might be reasonably quick is a good idea, and then I can just mark that off. So we'll see how we go with that, and I may be back in a few days to let you know about that one. And but first, right now, you're going to see the clip of me talking about the 2022 winner. Hi, this is Ellie from the future. I'm just jumping in here to say that one of the books that I'm going to talk about in this video is published by HarperCollins. We are, of course, aware of the union strikes going on at the moment at HarperCollins, going to leave the info for that down below, as well as the Instagram that they have going if you aren't aware of the situation and you'd like to learn more. As I said, I have one title from them, which is Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. They are asking us to withhold reviews at the moment, and so I am going to keep the footage of me talking about that one until a later date, because I think I had some things to say about it, and I would eventually like to voice them. So for now, you'll see a little bit of me talking about that while I read it, and then further on in the future I will talk about it again. And as I said, everything will be linked below if you would like to become more aware of the situation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Back to Past Daily now. Okay, hello. The winner has been announced. So, let me bring up the full title and we can talk about it. It is Friday the 9th of December today. This came out last night, I think I checked, and I saw the winner and I was like, okay, sure, I'll talk about that tomorrow. Anyway, the one that won is Atlas of the Heart, Mapping Meaningful Connection and the Language of Human Experience, which is by Brené Brown. I've never read anything by her. Yes, by her before. When I used to be a bookseller, I used to get people would ask for her books all the time, and it's really not the sort of thing that I wanted to read. It's not. Okay, so it describes it as being about self-help. So this is the genres on Goodreads: self-help, psychology, personal development, mental health, relationships, health, leadership, and spirituality. Some of those things are interesting to me. I started my degree as a double major with psych and then dropped out of the psych side. So vaguely interested in the mental health aspect and all that sort of thing. Don't like self-help. But this wasn't the one that I definitely didn't want to win. That one, I might as well say, it was actually the one that came second, which was Unmasked, because that is about like America's cold cases, and like I mentioned in the last clip with I'll Be Gone in the Dark, I don't do true crime, so I was so nervous that one would win. But this one is okay. I have already put the ebook on hold at my library. I think it might end up being the last one that I read, because let's see, what number am I at? I'm 38 in line right now. Now it says that is about 4 weeks, but all the other ones that I have still on hold are about, okay, there's one other that I have on hold, which is 2 weeks away, but I have everything else on my Kindle at the moment, so that's that. We'll see what we end up doing. And then yeah, I am very close to finishing my first book already. I started The Opposite of Loneliness, but I was gonna try and push through and finish it today, but I actually need to spend the afternoon doing an essay instead, so I can't really justify sitting and reading that instead, because I need to read the book for my essay and then finish my essay by Sunday. So I will be doing that this weekend, and I will probably jump on Sunday afternoon, hopefully with this essay completely finished, and let you know about how I went with that one. And okay, I should just say I am putting Atlas of the Heart in my mid expectation sort of thing, because I know a lot of people love Brené Brown, and so I think that there's got to be something good in it for so many people to like her, but I'm not going to put it in high expectations because it's just, I don't like self-help. I don't like self-help, and maybe I will talk about that later in this video, as to why I think that is, once I've read some of these kind of self-helpy books. But until then, yeah, I will catch you all on Sunday with that finished, hopefully, and I'll see you all then. Okay, it's been a couple of days. I think I spoke to you last on Friday. Did I? I think so. And I finally finished off The Opposite of Loneliness this afternoon. I'd kind of planned to do it over the weekend, and then I just didn't really feel like reading my Kindle, and I was trying to finish off these 2 other books, so didn't get to that one, but I did finish this afternoon. I was going to finish it this morning on the train to work, and then that also didn't happen, and yeah, so I finished it when I got home. I was looking at my old review for this because I thought I'd given it like 3 stars. I gave it 4, which does not match up with my memory of reading this book, because originally I was like, I didn't like this. Like, I think I gave it 3, maybe 3.5, and then I went and looked at my review, and there I was being like, this was amazing, and like, wow, this totally could have, I totally would have followed Marina Keegan's career. If you don't know, she actually passed away before the book was published, so her parents went on to publish it. So I guess my memory is really bad. That checks out. Because I was thinking this time of like, I was reading it and I was like, this is like really enjoyable. Like, I'm really enjoying this, and it's separated into fiction and non-fiction, and with the fiction side I was like, this is good, and I did not remember enjoying that. According to my original review, I did. So I guess we learn something here every day, right? But I guess I kind of sticking with what I said in my original one years and years ago, was that I really enjoyed the short fiction. It was definitely odd. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 that I just didn't gel with, but the others were like really interesting, and I don't like short stories for the most part. They just leave me feeling a bit confused and unsatisfied, and honestly that was a little with some of these, but some of them were just like really well written and interesting. And I'd gone into this thinking, the non-fiction in this is going to be good, like I'm going to really enjoy it, and when it came to it, I didn't love it. There wasn't a piece in the non-fiction that I would say that I loved. In the short fiction, there are a couple of pieces that, I really did enjoy. In the non-fiction, though, there was nothing I absolutely hated, but there was nothing that grabbed me either. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised by myself, by my past me. So yeah, I'm still gonna give this a 4-star. I really thought I'd given this a 3, but I guess past Ellie just enjoyed it more than I remembered. But it does mean that I can move on to my next one. I was feeling a little stressed about this because I kind of came into this project a little bit later than I think most other people. I think there was at least a week or two, if not more, ahead, and I was so worried that I wouldn't catch up. But most people have said they're starting this next year, so I'm feeling okay about having read one, and I think I'd still like to finish another 2 to 3 before the end of the year, because otherwise I will get distracted and I won't finish this in time. So I've been reading these one at a time. I think I'm gonna stick with that, honestly, because I feel like otherwise I might get a little wrapped up and distracted if I try and read a few. Those are opposite things. If I try and read a few, I think I will just get myself lost. And yeah, so we're gonna stick with one per, I don't know, we'll see. But I think the one that I'm gonna start next is actually gonna be Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis, because I don't have very high expectations for this one. It's not my kind of book generally, but also I am not good at the idea of this book, which is kind of like, well, yeah, apologizing for things that you don't really need to apologize for. So I'm looking at some of the chapter titles now, like it's talking about like learning to say no, and I'm really bad at that stuff, and that sort of thing. It seems to be a bit about maybe leadership, I don't know, we'll see. And it's only 240 pages long, so I feel like maybe in a few days, like how much of this is actually, yeah, it's like 216 without all of the stuff beforehand. So I feel like that could literally be a day. So we'll go from there, and then yeah, hopefully I can finish this off kind of quickly. I'm already 7% of the way through just going to the first like introduction, so I think we'll go from there, and then I don't know, maybe I'll slip in one of the ones that I'm really excited for in between reading the ones I'm less excited for, and we'll see how we go with that. But I'm gonna, I think, read a little bit of this one tonight and then just read other stuff, and hopefully I have tomorrow off, so hopefully by Wednesday afternoon or Thursday when I have the day off again, I will be able to tell you about it, and hopefully I finished it. So until then, I guess I have to decide what else I'm going to read tonight now. But I'll see you all in a minute, or in a second, with the next clip. I finished. It's only Wednesday, but this was, yep. Honestly, it wasn't even terrible. I've read way worse things. Hey, Pess. Okay. Hey. Hey, friend. He has come to provide me with comfort and love while I talk about this. Right now, we're going to go with 3 stars. I'm going to give myself, I think, maybe, well, tonight and maybe most of hey, you're so cute. Okay, I'm gonna give myself tonight and most of tomorrow to do some other reading before I start my next one. I think I'm gonna go with modern romance next, because I don't know. I don't have high expectations for this one either, and I kind of just want to get it out of the way, I think. And then we'll see from there what I decide to go with. And yeah, I think after that one I might do the Hamilton one, because I feel like I'm really gonna like that one. So it might be nice to read something that I really, really enjoy between some of these others. I don't know. We'll see. And yes, I've made myself a wonderful cup of tea. I say wonderful, it's probably cold. It's not bad. And I will catch you in a few days when I decide to start that one, or if I change my mind or whatever. And yes, cool. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna read something fun that I want to read. Maybe some romance, because I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve it. Yeah. And I'm gonna cuddle with my boys, I guess. I have the other boys just sitting slightly off camera, so I guess I'm gonna take Rachel Hollis's advice. I didn't even mention that one of her tips is literally just drink water. So I'm gonna drink some water, and I'm gonna be a good kitty mum, and I'm gonna have some me time. Those are all things she recommended. I mean, not so much the kitty mum, but anyway, cool. I'll see you all in a second. You're so cute. Okay, hi. Happy New Year. It is now the 2nd of Jan. Welcome to 2023 and to stress, because I have to finish 8 books hopefully by the end of this month. And we're gonna see how that goes. But I do have a few things to talk to you about. I took a pretty big break on reading any of these because I just kind of needed it after Rachel Hollis. But I did start Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. Okay. I have thoughts. I gotta say that I have never seen Parks and Rec. I really have no interest in it. I really like Amy Poehler, but I just don't really like that type of show. It's not for me. So I didn't really know anything about him going into this other than some possibly dodgy stuff. And I really don't like this so far. I don't know. I didn't realize, I thought it was more of like a essay collection, but it's actually like a exploration into modern romance, and they've actually like surveyed people, and he does have like a writing partner. I don't know, but like he's talked about in the book, but his name just isn't on the cover anyway. So it is actually talking about like some stats and survey, and personal stories of these people that they've surveyed and all of this, and it's kind of interesting in terms of like, yeah, I don't know, some of it is like, I feel like this is a book written for men, because a lot of the stuff is talking about like, oh, women just like it if you like respond to their text messages, and it's like, cool, yep, that is like, I can't deny that is generally a good basis for a relationship of some kind. But it's, yeah, nothing right now is surprising me about it, other than perhaps how much I dislike it. It's also he's trying really hard to be funny, and I just don't think that we have the same sense of humor. So some of the things he's saying, I'm just like, that, ugh, no, nope, nope, nope. So at one point I highlighted this because I read it, and then I read it out to my boyfriend and was like, this is stupid. He says, I hope you aren't holding an ice cream cone against your chest because your heart just warmed and your ice cream just melted. That's supposed to be funny. I rest my case. So there's that. That's all I'm going to talk about with that one. I am 27% of the way through, and I have like 13 more days with this copy. So I'd like to finish it in those 13 days. I'm happy to re-borrow the library ones, but I really want to get through this one because I don't want to have to be reading it in 13 more days. I want to be finished. So that's that. Other thing I want to update you on is Are We Gone in the Dark? Because I was, people in the little group chat that we have for this have been talking about how terrible their books are, which has honestly been quite funny to read everyone panicking. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, some of the people I'm like, wow, those books really suck. And I'm like, are mine that bad? Like in comparison? I don't know. Anyway, people were talking about doing backups because of books being unavailable or just impossible to get through. So I think I'm going to end up doing that with this one because I just feel like there's no point, like if I start this, I don't want to just like flare up my anxiety and traumatize myself just for me to be like, oh, I'm not going to continue this. I got the hold from the library and I didn't even touch it because I was already kind of like, I just don't think I can do this. So I am going to read a backup from this year, which I think was 2018. The runner-up, however, was Rachel Hollis. And I was like, you know what? I have put myself through enough shit with Rachel Hollis. I ain't doing it. So we're doing the next one, which is it called Fear? Yeah, Fear by Bob Woodward, something like that. It's about Trump in the White House. So this will probably make me angry, but at least it won't make me terrified to sleep at night. So I think it's a win. Yeah, there's that. So that's the update there. It's the 2nd of Jan today. I think I said that. And we're just, I'm going to try and finish this in the next few days. Maybe by the weekend. And then I think I'm going to move on to the Brené Brown one because I got that one, which is the winner of this year. Well, last year now, I guess. Because I do have that one ready to go. So we should get through this one, get to that one, and then we'll see. We'll see. I am taking half of this month off filming and uploading videos, so I'm hoping that will give me the extra 2 weeks to read these ones and have that extra time to read because I won't need to film and edit things. So I'm hoping that will give me the time to get to these. And if I have to read one at the very start of Feb before this video is due up, so be it. But first we gotta get through this. Yay, wish me luck. I finally finished it. It is the 8th of January today, and it's finally done. I really didn't like this one. I feel like there was just this like humorous take to it that I just didn't appreciate. I think had it been a little bit more serious, I think I might have vaguely enjoyed it. I just don't really care about reading about, I don't know, relationships in this form. I enjoy reading romance books and, you know, books that sci-fi, fantasy, whatever, with romance, but I don't really care about non-fiction books about romantic relationships. I don't know what that is, but I just don't really care. So I'm done. I didn't like it. I think the thing that really ruined it is that he just gives off creepy guy vibes in some of the things he says. I'm just like, that's not it, dude. Very uncomfortable with some of the like comments that were made, and like, I don't know, they were made to be funny, but they just didn't really land. And yes, let's see. I did highlight a few things while I was reading, so let's see. Sorry, I needed another word for crisis, and when I entered the word crisis into thesaurus.com, it suggested hot potato as a synonym. I could not write this book without letting you know that thesaurus.com lists hot potato as a synonym for crisis. And then follows that with, hey, in quotes, hey, did you hear about what's happening with Israel and Palestine? It's becoming a real hot potato. Yes. Sure, sir. What was this other one that I highlighted? This one, I don't know, maybe if I was American, I would know who this person is, but apparently they are a former Chicago Bulls star. I don't even know what sport Chicago Bulls play, but anyway, it says here, Scottie Pippen would likely believe it was an imposter Scottie Pippen from another dimension sent to steal his wife and kill him. The psychological damage inflicted on poor Scottie Pippen would be far worse than discovering a simple affair. Just, those were honestly like not even that bad, just weird. But there were some that I was just like, I don't even want to talk about that in the video because I want to pretend that that didn't happen. So we're done with that. I will never ever think about this book again or about this man. And also, there were also just really weird personal stories about like him and his partner and like girls that he dated in the past and his own I don't know, like his own experiences, and some of that were just weird and creepy, and I was like, you know what, if I was that girl, if I was that woman that he was talking to in this situation, I wouldn't have responded to him either. So major creep vibes, but we're gonna move on, and like I said, never think about this book ever again. So I discovered, because this took me a few more days than I was hoping, well, I mean, it took me like 3 more weeks than I was hoping, but it means that I only have 3 days left of my hold of Atlas of the Heart, and I don't think, if I don't read it in those 3 days, I don't think I would get the hold again before this video needs to go out. And this is the one for 2022, and honestly, right now I'm kind of interested. I have heard many good things about Brené Brown's books before. I don't really know anything about them, so I'm gonna give it a go. And I do also have the Autistic Brain somewhere here, and I have I think I have a week left with that one, so I'm going to try and read those two by next Sunday. I have a couple of other things that I need to read, and I've just not really been feeling well, I just didn't want to read modern romance, so I just wasn't reading anything for this. So it's like 4 o'clock now. I think I'm going to make myself a cuppa and just start this one, read a little bit of it, and yeah, before dinner. So here we go. Okay, it's been 2 days. It is now Tuesday, and I did start Atlas of the Heart on Sunday night, and here I am to give you my little, not even halfway, just little update. So I'm 29% of the way through so far. I was kind of hoping to basically read, I think it was like 57% yesterday, get up to that mark. But I ended up going to work like 3 hours early, and had to start 3 hours earlier than planned. And by the time, I read a bit on the train in the morning, but I have like a 20-minute commute, during which I can actually read. I have a little bit before that, but it's like jumping on buses and things and walking places, so it's not really reading time. So I read, I don't know, like 11% in the morning, and then on the train home I was just feeling a little tired, and I was talking to my dad for a bit, so I just read a little, and then I came home and read a little bit in the evening, but I was just really exhausted, and it was just getting up to this chapter about grief, and I was just like, I'm too tired to deal with this right now. I struggle a lot with my grief, so I just was like, not tonight. I just need to have the night off. So that's what I did. The goal is to finish it today though, but I wanted to jump on and just give my thoughts so far, in case they change by the end. So first of all, this is, out of the ones that I've read so far, this feels like the most non-fiction-y in a way. It is a book about all the like complex emotions, you know, the whole range that we can feel, and goes through them and like gives definitions, and is kind of like, this is how you might identify if you're like feeling this emotion, which is actually really interesting, to be honest. I can't help but compare it to Rachel Hollis, because I kind of was, in my mind, I had kind of, before I read either, had kind of, I don't know, put Rachel Hollis and Brené Brown in the same sort of sphere, I guess. When I used to work in a bookshop a few years ago, both of these authors were really popular, and in the store I worked in, they were in the same section, which was kind of like motivation, business, personal development. So I'd kind of expected a little bit to go in with that same sort of Rachel Hollis vibe. So far, I'm liking Brené Brown a lot more. She just feels more genuine, and this isn't really self-helpy. It's, you know, talking about these emotions, but it's not like, oh, if you feel depressed, you should drink water. So that is more interesting, of like looking at it from a more, it's not really scientific, but just, I guess, psychological. And there's also some of Brené Brown's personal experiences in there, but they don't feel, Rachel Hollis felt braggy, and I don't know, this just feels a bit more like, this is what I've experienced, and this is maybe something that I did, or maybe all that. So yeah, 30% of the way through, hoping to finish it today. I have the day off. It's still pretty early in the morning, so I'm hoping that by tonight I can finish it and move on to the next one. I've already downloaded the next 2 books I'm going to read after that one, and I've planned out my reading for the rest of the month in terms of this. I think after I finish this one and the Autistic Brain, I would really like to have a weekend break. So I'm hoping that I can finish both of them by Friday, and then over the weekend I can just read what I want to. I just don't have a lot of time to read this week, so I just really want to read some of the books that are actually on my TBR, as in on my physical TBR. So yes, there's that. The only other thing I will say about this is I'm kind of waiting for like the other shoe to drop. Like, I don't really understand what the purpose of this book is right now. Fletchy is sticking his hand under the rug. It's very strange. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like it's interesting, but I don't really know what the point of it is. I don't know whether it's just going to go through all these emotions and then be like, cool, end of the book, we'll see you in the next one, or whether it is going to do some kind of section about, I don't know, something. I don't know if it's going to go into the self-help realm or just talk about them more generally. I don't know, but yes, I will find that out today. I have some things I need to do for uni, and my boys are about to start fighting, I think, so I'm gonna go. Just made myself a cuppa, so good timing, and I will catch you all either later today, depending on what time I finish this, or if I do finish it, or tomorrow after work. I'll see you all soon. Hello, it's now 5 p.m. and I finished. Really didn't think that I would, but honestly the last like 20% were notes and acknowledgements and some like accessible tables and things that had been images in earlier in the book that you could click through at the time. So I managed to finish about 20 minutes ago, which left me about 28 hours with the ebook left, so feels pretty good to be able to return it. I did have some like highlights that I wanted to talk about, and I'll talk about how I felt at the book. Nice. Yes, language is important, which is one of the key things of this book, is talking about how language and our words, when we refer to our emotions and things like that, and also just in general, are really important. Our choices, the words we use, the words we choose to use are extremely important, and we should be careful about that. That's like, I'm not gonna disagree with that. So on a whole, I would say that so far, this is probably my favorite. I was not expecting that. But also I do still have the Hamilton one to go, and I feel like that's going to be the top one because Hamilton. But I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm actually genuinely glad that this project let me read it, because I would not have in a million years picked this up on my own. I would choose to describe this book as a helpful book, but not a self-help book, because it does talk a lot about emotions, and at the end it does sort of give you ideas of how you can be conscious about your emotions, and, you know, I don't want to say be in control, because what does that really mean? But yeah, how to understand your emotions and why you might feel the way that you feel, and how, you know, wrapped up emotions can get. There's so many different layers, and what you think is how you feel can sometimes not be the real emotion that you're feeling. Brené Brown was specifically talking about ideas around shame and anger and guilt and those sorts of things, and how they can get so wrapped up in things. And that was all just really interesting, and honestly I would actually recommend it. I'm highly considering buying myself a copy of this book. If you remember, I was talking that I was just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with this book, and on this page 215 it said, if you find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it wasn't talking about the book, but it was just kind of perfect. To use the exact same phrase that I had just used. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. That has definitely given me some food for thought, and yeah, I think I will be grabbing myself a copy probably later in the year. Give myself some time to think over what I have read, and maybe action a few things, and talk to some people about it. And I think that I will come back to this one, and yeah. But with that means that is one more done. That's 4, I think. And I think that means I have 6 to go. I already have the next one. As I've talked about, I'm going to be reading The Autistic Brain by Temple Grandin next. I've already got it loaded up. That's the prologue, and I'm ready to go. I think tonight I'm going to read the first, chapter or 2. It looks like there's about 215 pages of actual things, and then it goes into notes. So I'm going to start it, read a chapter or 2, and then hopefully I'm going to try and finish it Thursday. Back at work tomorrow, and then I have Thursday off again, so I'm hoping that in that time I can read it, and I'll let you know, and then I will move on to the next ones, and we'll see how we go with things. I'm feeling better that I will get this vlog done in time. I was feeling a little stressed a week ago, so cool. I will probably do what I did with this one and update you about halfway through, or wherever I am Thursday morning if I haven't really read that much between now and then, and I'll see you all then. Okay, so here's me in this outfit again, because I am just going through, it's sort of in the last minute almost. Obviously sorry about that in the intro, and just adding some of my clips went missing. One here in which I talked about reading The Autistic Brain by Temple Grandin, which I really enjoyed, and I think that this was an interesting read. It is very science-based, very neuroscience-based, and a lot of that is quite confusing. I don't know a whole lot about the brain. Some of it I could kind of follow. I still really enjoyed this. That's basically what I think I said. It also missed me talking about How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh, which I did not enjoy. This was not the worst, honestly. It was all right. It wasn't. It was bad, but it wasn't like horrendous. It is very, like, Lily Singh is not reinventing the wheel here, basically. It's the sort of standard stuff you'd see in a book like this that's kind of like self-helpy with a gimmick. The gimmick here being that she's, young and was a famous YouTuber, and she talks a lot about that, but none of the advice was like wow, I'd never thought of that before. It was very much like, you know, set goals, drink water. I'm still annoyed about Rachel Hollis telling me to drink water. But it was less horrendous than Rachel Hollis. I find Lily Singh a little more likable, maybe because we're a little closer in age. And I didn't really watch her videos back in the day, but I watched people around her. So at least I had like a vague kind of knowledge about her. I felt like if I didn't know anything, this probably would have been worse. But one thing she did that was really annoying is she'd talk about meeting all these like famous people, which is like incredible and great for her. And she would be like, oh, and they gave me really great advice. And then she didn't tell you what that advice was at all. So it's like, cool. I'm glad that you know that, but probably wasn't relevant to me, but I'd also still kind of want to know that because this is a book on you giving advice. So I don't know, maybe include that. But we're moving on from that. And then the final thing that I talked about, actually I talked about two more things. One was I was starting Hamilton. You'll see that in the next clip. And two was that this was, I think, the point in which I decided to just not do I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, because my anxiety has just been especially bad lately, and I was like, serial killers are not I don't know. I know that some people find true crime, serial killers, reading about that strangely comforting or interesting. It just makes me feel really anxious. So skipped that one, and I picked up Fear by Bob Woodward instead. Again, you'll see me talk about that in a minute. Okay, hello, we are back. I've finished Stamp. So it's been a couple of days. It is now the 1st. Nope, it's the 30th. I went to say it's the first like day of the week. It is. It's Monday the 30th, and I finished Stamped. I finished it probably about 20 minutes ago, and here I am updating you on it. I thought I would finish this one earlier. I forgot my Kindle one day when I was going into work, which is mostly when I use it. So I lost like a good 3 days there because I didn't have work those days, and then I didn't have my Kindle on the day I was at work. And then I read a little bit of it this morning on the train, but I don't know, you know how sometimes you just sort of like, I just felt a bit dizzy, and I was like, I shouldn't sit with my head down for the next 25 minutes. I will just like sit up and try and stay conscious. So I finished it this afternoon. I kind of wasn't planning to. I was about 57% of the way through when I finished this morning, and I was like, I'll just read, I don't know, like 75%, and then I'll finish it tomorrow morning instead. And then I read to about 75% and discovered that that was the end of the book. That is kind of the good thing about nonfiction, is often as an ebook or even as a physical book, you've got all the notes and everything like that. So it'll end a lot earlier than you're expecting it to. So that was good. Honestly, it felt really good to finish a book for this. It's the 30th today. I don't think I'm going to finish Hamilton by tomorrow. I can't remember what I was at last time, but I don't think I've read any more. I think it's at page 112. So actually I do think I've read more, but I think, like I said in the last clip, it's very hard to see. But I might try and do a little bit of reading of that tonight, and just, I think I've got about 180 pages left of that in theory. I don't know how much of this might be images, because this is such an image heavy book, or if there are going to be notes or an index or anything at the end of that as well. So work a little bit on that, and then finally fear arrived. So this is, I'm sure many of you have heard of this. This is the book about Trump in the White House, by Bob Woodward. This is almost a 500-page book, so that's going to be fun. I can't lie and say that I'm not interested in this. I think it will be it'll be an interesting read. I think, especially as an Australian, obviously we sort of see this from the outside. So I think it'll be interesting. I think I'm gonna probably leave this one until work again Wednesday morning, and just give myself tomorrow, which is my day off, to read some other things for other projects, other vlogs and other videos that are coming out in Feb, or are already out at this point in Feb. I've been putting so much focus into this that I haven't been doing some of those things. So we're going to catch up with that, and I'll be back in a couple of days, hopefully with Hamilton finished and some of this read. We are creeping ever nearer to the day this video needs to go out, and I still need to edit it. So I'm hoping, yes, in a couple of days I can get through this one. Maybe I should start tonight. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. We will see when I am back. Now. Okay. Hi again. It's been a couple of days again. I have finished Hamilton. I finished it, I don't even know, like 4 days ago, and thankfully I really enjoyed this. I did get a little emotional. I just feel like, I think the way that so the book isn't written by Lin-Manuel, it's written by someone else that's worked with him, and obviously knows him very well, and many of the other cast and crew members. So I feel like it is very personal. It's not someone from the outside looking in on this. So I feel like that kind of pride and love and support that they feel for, you know, the whole production and everyone involved in it, does make for a really emotional read, and I really liked it. Spoiler, it's still not my favorite, but I did have a great time reading it, apart from the fact that, yeah, I still couldn't zoom on the ebook, so I was reading it super close, and my glasses didn't even do anything to make that any better. So it was a difficult reading experience, but it really felt, I felt like I did learn a lot, and interesting things, and even things that, you know, I've seen Hamilton 3 times. Yes, 3 times now. And yeah, there were a couple of things that were mentioned that obviously this is a different cast and crew because it is it was the Australian show. But there are a couple of, you know, like even in the lyrics and things like that I was like, oh, I hadn't picked up on that. And I already listened to the, you know, original cast recording, like at least like 2 or 3 times a week. But yeah, I feel like there are other things that I'm kind of picking up on when I do that, and really enjoying it. So I do feel like it did add to the production for me, and I'm hoping, I don't really know when I'm gonna do this, but maybe in a few weeks I think I will rewatch the version on Disney Plus, because I've only watched that version once before. So I would like to redo that and see what I can pick up through that. So I'm really glad that I enjoyed that one, because I started Fear and I absolutely hate it. So this is at the moment in a possible running with Modern Romance for the worst thing I've read. I mean, for one, don't like Trump. So this isn't super sympathetic towards him, and right now it's not even really about him that much. It's about kind of the people around him. But I just do not care at all. And also I feel like it is, I get a little lost because I don't know how American elections work, because it's such a different system from here. And I feel like there's going to be Americans in the comments being like, what do you mean? But I still get confused between Republicans and Democrats, because we don't have, that's not the name of our parties here. We have Labour and we have Liberal and Greens and Independents and all this kind of stuff. But I still have to, every time the word comes up, I have to pause and I have to think about it. So yes, I am currently 6% through, which is chapter 4, and that is 27 pages. It isn't quite as bad as I thought in terms of page count. It is like 358 pages of actual stuff, and then the last, like, I don't know, 80 pages are notes and things, and I'm not gonna look through those. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I really would like to finish by Thursday. It's Monday today, which means that I need to read about 87 pages, I think, per day, give or take a few, in order to do that. So I don't know how that's gonna go, but it is like 6 o'clock. I think I'm gonna sit down for a bit and try and read at least like 3 chapters. The next 3-4 chapters are pretty short, so I'm hoping I can get through those and then have dinner. I have to watch something for class, and then I think I might just read for fun the rest of the evening, and then I guess we're just gonna keep trying to go with that. I just want to be done. I want to be done with this book. I want to be done with this video. I know a couple of people in the group chat are like, I finished everything and I've edited my video and it's ready to go, and I'm just like, fuck. I did a little bit of editing of this, but I haven't been editing as I go, and now I regret that. And now I have this book that is huge and terrible, and I'm trying really hard not to DNF anything, but honestly, if it comes to, like, I don't know, Saturday and I haven't finished this, maybe I will. We'll see. But for now, I am gonna try and read I'm gonna try and read more, and then I will hopefully be back on Thursday to be like, hey, I've finished and here are my thoughts, and then gives me a couple of days to put together my little ranking system and all of that, and still edit this and upload it in time. This is, I think, the longest video on the history of my channel. It may even be longer than some of my sprints. So if you've made it to this point, honestly, don't really know what you're doing here. You're really dedicated. And I appreciate you. I appreciate and love you. Thank you. Let's go back to this. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. It's Friday. No, it's not. It's Thursday today, which is the day I said that I wanted to be finished with Fear. I am 33% of the way through and I give up. I do not want to finish this book. I do not care. I am done. I'm over it. I hate it. I hate the way it's written. There are so many people and so many acronyms and so many other things, and it's, I guess, told maybe in like a chronological way, but it is chaotic and I don't understand what's happening. I don't even know what like month it's supposed to be when all of this is happening. It's the start of Trump's presidency, so year is vaguely like I can pick up on that, but I have no idea what's happening, what half of the stuff they're talking about means, and I just don't want to keep going. I'm over it and I just don't see myself finishing it. If I do continue in time for this video anyway, I'm just done. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah, that's that. I still think 33% is a decent go, considering I don't know how I made it that far. I don't know, some parts were kind of interesting, but I also feel like it is not that critical. I thought this honestly was like more of a critical book on Trump and his policies, but honestly it kind of makes him seem like, oh, he's not that bad of a guy, and like he's actually really intelligent, and I don't know, that's not that's not the vibe, is it? That is not it's just not. It's not. So I give up. Okay, here we are, jumping in with this super quick clip to say that I'm reading the one that I messed up. So the John Green one, still don't know how to pronounce it. Gonna look that up later. Unimportant right now. It was a whole thing getting this. I put it on hold at the library yesterday afternoon, hoping it would come in today, and it didn't. So and then every ebook library that I have access to did not have this book. It was borrowed out in every single one. One of them had 20 copies and every copy was borrowed. So that's a whole thing. But I finally had to join a whole other library. And I finally have an ebook copy. Now, I started reading it because when I opened it, it wasn't showing like page numbers, and there was absolutely no details about the book whatsoever, and I was like, oh, this looks a bit dodgy. Let's double check that it's not like an old file type or something, and there's a reason why it's not working. It's working fine, it's just, I don't know, the page numbers aren't syncing right. Anyway, so I read the first 6% and it is like almost 4 o'clock on Monday. This video has to go up at 4 a.m. my time on Wednesday. So I don't know, if I have to stay up all night to read this book, I'm gonna have to stay up all night to read this book. I don't have work tomorrow, so I could feasibly do that, but I am gonna hate myself for the next 3 weeks if I have to do that. So I have Ko-Fi sprints tonight, really hoping to get through this then. And yeah, I just wanted to jump on and be like, hey, I'm starting it, and then I will just jump back on and give my rankings of the books and talk about how I felt about this at the end in the next clip, which you are about to see now. And hopefully I got to sleep last night, or tonight, whenever you're seeing it. I feel like it's going to be tomorrow morning. We'll see. I did it. I read the book. It is the Anthropocene reviewed. According to John Green, I watched literally 5 seconds of his video talking about it, and that's what he said. So that's it. It took me about, I don't know why I stressed about it. It literally took me like 3 hours all up, and I had finished by like 10:30 last night. So we're done. Cool. Not going to talk too much about it because we're going to go straight into the ranking. Let me just plug in my laptop so that it doesn't die midway through. I have my little thing, my little list here. We're going to talk a little bit about, first of all, throwing it back and talking about my expectations for the books and were they met. At the very start, if you remember, I put them into 3 categories of low expectations, mid expectations, and high expectations. And we're going to look at them as we go through the list and see whether they matched up with those. To start, my low expectations were modern romance, Girl Stop Apologizing, How to Be a Boss, and I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which then did get switched out for Fear. Mid expectations, I'd put Broken in here, but honestly, before yesterday, the Anthropocene reviewed was also kind of mid. Opposite of Loneliness, The Autistic Brain, and Atlas of the Heart. And my high expectations were Hamilton and Stamped. So we're going to go from the bottom to the top, starting with number 10. Let's get into it. So I feel like number 10 had to be Fear because it is the only one I DNF'd, and I didn't think I could place it any higher, having not read more than 33% of it. I think that this was badly written. Honestly, I don't really say that about books very often, and I try to think of other critical ways to say things like that, but this was just like badly put together. There were too many people, too many acronyms and things that just weren't introduced. They were introduced, but then immediately it was just kind of assumed that you would know these things off the top of your head. And obviously this isn't a criticism of Bob Woodward, but my God, a lot of these people have very similar names, and it was so confusing to try and be like, wait, is that the, like, you know, the old military guy, or is this the like businessy guy, or like, is this person a politician? I don't know. So Fear is in the 10th spot. Number 9, surprising none of you I'm sure, is Modern Romance, because I absolutely hated this book. When I read it, I mentioned that I felt like Aziz Ansari just kind of gave off creepy vibes with the way he would speak in this book, especially about his own experiences. There was a lot of like, that doesn't seem cool, but whatever. And I think that as well, this just tried to be too funny, and it didn't really fit in with all these statistics and you know, personal stories and things like that. The humor just didn't match up between those two things. That's all I'm going to say about it, and I'm never going to think about this book again. Number 8 is A Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I didn't hate this one, but the more I think about it, the more I hate it. This is the HarperCollins one, and as far as I know, still at the time of filming this, they haven't reached an agreement yet. I believe that they are in serious talks, and so I might be able to share my little rant review of that one soon, but for now it's in the 8th spot. Number 7 was How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh. Again, I didn't completely hate this, but it wasn't, I don't know, I think these bottom four, maybe part of the reason that they're this low is that I didn't connect to them at all. I didn't find them interesting. They weren't relevant to a part of my life, and so I just didn't really care. Number 6 is The Anthropocene Reviewed. Again, I didn't hate this. I actually really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, but I'm putting it here because I just felt like it, I don't know, I thought it was going to be higher, and then when I looked at the list I was like, no, actually it is in 6th spot, which is ironically originally where I had put Broken, but for very different reasons. I just felt like I enjoyed this. I was surprised by it, honestly. There were quite a few things that I just didn't really care about. Like, he talks about like Canadian geese and like sports quite a bit, and I don't really care about either of those things. But at the same time, I don't know, I felt like I was transported back to like 2012 Ellie when she read The Fault in Our Stars and absolutely loved it. I don't know, he has a very interesting way of putting his thoughts down, and I think for some people that might seem a bit pretentious. I think there were some sentences in here that were really beautiful, and I also, he quotes a lot of like writers and things like that and poets, and I liked that. Gave me a few new people to sort of look into, as well as, you know, seeing some of my favorites in there. Like, he talks about Octavia E. Butler very briefly, and yeah, a couple of other people. And I think my main issue with this was that the review style didn't work, because there would be these really beautiful pieces and then he'll be like, I give sunsets 2 stars, and it's like that kind of cheapened this this beautiful writing for me. On to number 5, which is Stamped by Jason Reynolds. So with this one, I was a little disappointed in this, because I don't know if this bit made it into my video. I think I lost the clip in which I said this, but I had gotten confused. I thought this one was the one by Ibram X. Kendi, and it isn't. Like, his name is on the cover, but he wrote the original, Stamped from the Beginning, and this is all done by Jason Reynolds, taking that book and just, I think, making it for a younger audience. So I thought that I was going to be reading Kendi, and I was so excited about that because I've read a little bit of 400 Souls by him, and I thought his writing was beautiful. And this one was, it's here because I enjoyed it, but the writing is definitely for a younger audience, and so it's not overly serious, and I think you can probably tell at this point, I tend to like my nonfiction to be on a more serious thing. Like, it can be funny, but I just feel like my sense of humor is not the American sense of humor. So a lot of these are all of these American? Maybe. I think Lily Singh is Canadian. I don't know about any of the others, but I think it's mostly American. Surprise, surprise. So that was, I think, the thing for humor in all of these books, is that I don't find that sense of humor funny. Sorry. Next one, number 4, is The Autistic Brain by Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin is on the spectrum herself. It is own voices. She talks a lot about her own personal experiences with autism and all these different medical procedures and things that she has gone through, and all this scientific research that she has done herself or has somehow been involved in. And that is fascinating. I think there's probably like 3 maybe 4 books on this list that I feel like I actually learned something from, which again, I like in nonfiction. I really like learning. So I like coming away from a book with having learnt something that I didn't know before, or having my opinion or what I thought was true sort of change a little. And I definitely found that in The Autistic Brain, because I just didn't know a lot of this sort of more medical scientific side. I don't have autism myself, so I don't know that personal experience. And I loved how that was mixed with Graden and a couple of other people that she had worked with, as well as all that sort of more, sciencey stuff. Number 3, I went with The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan, which ironically is mostly because of the fiction in this book, because I really, really enjoyed that. There's one piece in particular, I think it's maybe even the first story, that I keep thinking about. I read this literally 2 months ago, like almost to the day, and I still think about that piece. I don't know what it is, it just lives with me. As I mentioned back when I read this, I wasn't that fussed on the nonfiction, but so maybe this one isn't totally fair to be this high, but I don't know, I just felt like it belonged here. Number 2 is Hamilton, The Revolution. So, beautiful book. Big fan of Hamilton, loved learning all this new stuff that I didn't before, and I love how personal it feels. Like it's it's obviously written by someone who cares for Lin-Manuel a lot, and all of the other cast and crew, and for the entire production itself. And I think that really makes this book, because it's that love is obvious. And I think had this been written by someone who wasn't so, who didn't feel that way, that this would be not great. It'd be boring. So I really enjoyed that. But number 1 is Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. Was not anticipating that one, but I think I was thinking before of why I felt like it was my favorite, because I don't know that it is the best book on this list, and I don't know what is, but I think for me this one was just relevant to me, interesting, but also there was, I think I cut this bit out because I got a bit emotional, but there was just like a few ideas in this book that really made me think about my own experiences and things that I have been struggling with a little bit, often for a long time, most of the time. And I've been struggling with these things for a while now, and it just gave me a different perspective, and it also just gave me some labels of things that I have been dealing with, and just gave me a way to help myself and to go forward and to look into things with both like healthcare professionals and people in my personal life, like my partner and my friends, and to be able to talk through those things with both of those kind of groups of people. And so it's number 1 because I think it was the most helpful to me on a personal level, and it was interesting. So going back to the expectations, we have in the low expectations, I got them all. So I got Modern Romance, Girl Stop Apologizing, How to Be a Boss, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I had originally put there because I didn't think I would get through it because of anxiety, but the one I ended up reading, Fear, is down there anyway. So I think I got that one. Mid expectations, a little more off. I would say that I got The Autistic Brain because that's number 4, and I got Broken because I had switched that out for the actual book, Anthropocene reviewed and still had mid expectations. So I think those two I got. And then the other two I put in there were Opposite of Loneliness and Atlas, which obviously are in the top 3. So I definitely didn't get those. And then high expectations, I put Hamilton and Stamped. And I think I would stand by this. If that Stamped had been the Ibram X. Kendi one, this would have been higher. But just, yeah, that younger voice threw me off. So that's it. It's finally done. I'm so excited. I can't believe, like, I don't know, I totally stressed out the other day when I realized I'd done this, that I'd messed up, and I was so worried I wasn't gonna get this ready, and here we are. So that is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.